Hello and welcome to Lesson 3 or Unit 3 Lesson 4 tutorial. And today we're going to be talking about mid-segments of a trapezoid. A mid-segment is basically a segment whose endpoints are the midpoints of the non-parallel sides. So it's going to be the midpoints of this length right here and this length right here. We're going to find the midpoint and then we're going to make a line, and that will be considered the mid-segment. So in order to construct a midpoint, we learned that in section 1. So what we do is we put the compass end here and draw an arc. And once again, you're doing this with your compass. And you do the same thing with the other end point. We'll put our compass here and draw the other one. And then all we have to do is connect those dots. So I'm going to use a line, and I'll do a green line to connect those points. So that right there is going to be my midpoint. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a dot in that spot. So that's my midpoint. And then I'm going to do that same thing with the other side. I want to find the midpoint to this segment. So I'm going to put my compass here, do the same arc, put my compass here, and do that same arc again. And where those points intersect, this line is going to be my midpoint. So once again, I'll put a green point in that spot. So those are my midpoints. And then in order to make a mid-segment, all you have to do is connect those green points together. And that is a mid-segment. What that mid-segment has done just now is that it has divided this line into two parts. So this line and this line are the same length. And this line and this line are the same length. So I'll use double lines in order to show that those two are the same length. Now, an interesting thing about a mid-segment is that if I were to add my two parallel lines together, so if I were to take AB and DC and add those lengths together and then cut it in half, then I would get that length right there. And you guys will be constructing that for your homework. But let me go ahead and just demonstrate this with numbers. If AB was, say, 40 feet, and if I had DC as 150 feet, if I were to take AB and DC and add them together, I would get 190. And then, if I took 190 and divide it by 2, I would get how long this green line is, this mid-segment. So that mid-segment is actually going to end up being 95 feet. So that's how you would find out the length of a mid-segment, is basically just add the two parallel lines together and divide it by 2. So to find the length of the mid-segment, add the two parallel lines together and divide by 2. Now, interesting thing about a mid-segment is that when you've got your top and bottom are parallel, the mid-segment is also going to be parallel. Just the nature of a mid-segment. And so because we're dealing with parallel lines, we can kind of pretend like this is a transversal, and we're going to be messing around with some of these angles. As you guys have learned already, if we were to pretend like this is a transversal, I can tell that this angle and this angle are going to be equal to each other because of one is on the interior, one is on the exterior, so that's corresponding angles. Same thing with angle 7 and angle 5. Those are also equivalent because of corresponding angles. Same thing over on this side. Angle 3 and angle 1 are equal to each other. And angle 2, make sure I put enough arcs here, and angle 4 are also equal to each other.